Assalamu everyone. So the game we'll be analyzing today is between National Master Shahzeb and National Master, the recent Pakistan's most recent National Master Aqib Javed Bhatt. Now Aqib hails from Lahore and is currently pursuing a doctorate from CMH, I believe. He's in his final year and he's managing chess along with his studies quite well. Now, the day we got to know the pairings a night before the event, and Akib, Zaman, Junaid, my friends Ali Akbar, we were all huddled up in a room, trying to find out some lines for him to play against. We knew National Master Shazib opened the game with e4. Yet we looked at some lines. We looked at Sicilian defense. We looked at the Karo Khan. We looked at the Queen's Indian. We even looked at some knight to f6 lines, but we couldn't find any particular weakness in his play. Although we did consider the Karo Khan and looked extensively into it, but we couldn't find certain weaknesses for Akib to exploit. Now, it was getting late. Everyone had a tournament game tomorrow, and at about 3 a.m., we went back to our rooms. As we were about to go to sleep, I told Akib, bro, I have a suggestion if you want to hear it. He said, sure, let's hear it. And I said, you could play e4, knight to c6, the Nimzovich defense. Knight to c6, yeah. And he was surprised. He said, okay, show me a game. And I had this game between two engines which I had played, which I had made a study of, and I showed him the study, and he liked the position, and he said, okay, I'll play this tomorrow. I didn't expect him to actually play it, because the man's never played this opening in his life before, and I was like, bro, okay, if you're comfortable with it, okay, sure. Because Akib wanted to play an offbeat opening and try and get Shazib out of book. Now the game went though we predicted it, with e4, knight to c6, d4, d5, e5, and okay, we looked at this exact variation the night before, and the moves over here were basically bishop to f5, e6, and you play h3, h6, tuck away your bishop over here, bring out your knight to f5 as you usually do in these setups, and at some point bust open with f3. And it's completely okay for black to bust open the position with f6 in this line. Now, obviously, you could also go for this e captures d5, queen captures d5, and knight f3. Now, this is also a line in which black can get great attacking chances. This is a line we looked at, but okay. After e5, we chose for this bishop f5 variation, which is basically now a Karo Khan, with the only difference being that instead of c6, we have a knight over here. So it's a much more active version, you could say, of the Karo Khan. Now, okay, white's main moves over here are c3, bring the knight out to e2, trade off these dark squared bishops, light squared bishops, because as you usually do in the Karo Khan, and just get a position. But Shahzeb wanting to play enterprisingly, because Aqib is a bit underrated, I believe. He was rated around 1400 in the event, but he gave a tremendous performance, getting to around 2000 performance rating and gaining around 250 elo in a single event. So Shahzeb went with g4. We have bishop to g6, h4, as you usually do. I guess he's trying to play in the Tal variation of the Karo Khan defense, in some sort. So replying in kind, Aqib went h5. We have g5, e6, solidifying the position, bishop d3, bishop captures d3, queen captures d3, knight ge7, eyeing this f5 square, and we have knight to d2, g6, closing down the position. Bishop goes to Knight goes to b3. Now he's moved the same piece twice in the opening, which is a bit unprincipled, but I guess he wants to bring his knight over here and add some pressure over here. Okay, so knight to b4 was played, a very nice and cunning move, and queen e2 is the only nice move over here. It's a pretty sharp position, and if white wants to maintain the advantage, he has to play queen to e2. A move like queen to c3 is met with bishop f5. Oh, knight f5. And knight to f3 just leads to further problems for white, because you have to play okay, because he can play this move now, and you can't really push this away because this is untakeable if you take this comes, and white's also threatening to play this at some time as well. So okay, queen to e2 was played, and we have the move b6. b6 stops obviously in the infiltration of the knight, and also prepares to play c5 in some lines, breaking open the position. So okay, knight goes back to b6, bishop d2, and a6, pushing the queen away. Queen goes back to d3, queen d7, preparing to perhaps short castle or long castle or short castle, keeping the position flexible, I guess. Knight goes to e2. Very important idea is because whenever the knight jumps to f5, you want to play knight over here to sort of counteract it. Knight f5, knight to g3, knight captures, pawn captures, and now you've managed to create some dark squared weaknesses, and an endgame should favor black because of the fact that he has these connected pawns, although he does have this weakness over here. But if they can manage to trade down to a bishop endgame, this should favor black tremendously because of all of black's pawns being on dark squares and him having a bad bishop. So knight ge7, rerouting again a knight to this strong outpost on f5, knight to b4, and knight f5. An interesting line here would have been c5, after d captures c5, bishop f5, bishop goes back to a3, and now b5, and you just attack all of these weaknesses right here, all of these pawn weaknesses, and you start to exploit them one by one. Perhaps this could be a move, but okay. After the move, he played the very natural move knight to f5. Bishop captures f8, trading off this liability that was a dark squared bishop, and now he's left with the strong asset over here. Now a4 was played. As I said, this a5, a4 idea was planned for white as well, for black as well in this position. But perhaps a4 binds this rook to this pawn, and I don't like this move at all. Okay, the move, c5 was played, finally busting open the position. D captures c5. In hindsight, let's see what would have. Okay, so you have to take. Okay, D captures c5, B captures c5, and now knight captures c5. So you've temporarily given up a pawn, right? But this is where the fun starts. Queen c7, attacking both the knight and the pawn. b4, protecting, and now knight captures c5 was played. Now, had Aqib invested a serious amount of time into calculation, he'd have found this amazing resource of a5. And if, say, c3, a captures b4, c captures b4, knight captures e5, now king f2, and the move, this. Obviously, you can't go back. If you go back, I take, you force yourself up, and then you win this pawn. So the only move over here is queen e2. You don't trade queens, and yeah, you win a pawn, and basically you win this pawn as well, and the king is pretty unsafe over here. So a5 was a pretty nice move if it would have been played, but okay, he took the pawn right here. King to f2 was played. The king was brought up because of this nasty threat of a fork right here. Rook a d1 and d4. A bit premature in my opinion, but okay, it's a move. Obviously, his idea is to showcase his knight on the e3 square, as well as stopping ideas of c4 in the future. There's also, from here it can travel to here, I guess, and just wreak havoc amongst the white's camp. So h1 was played, knight to e3, and here the knight is too strong to be left alive, and Shahzeb just snatched it right off. Here, you trade rooks, and okay, you come over here. Obviously, a move like, simply trading rooks would have been disastrous, because I believe this endgame is winning for black. There's no way you stop all three passers. So he came over here. H8 was played, and after I had finished my game up till this point, and I came to view the board, and okay, he took over here, and I completely agreed with him. You have to snap the knight off in order to create three weak pawns over here, okay? And obviously you're going to be attacking these pawns right here. Takes, king, rook c8, and king d4. Now, I had left the board at this position, right? And when I came back, this position had been reached. And I was like, what? What happened to his rook? Turns out Shahzeb had blundered his rook away with this move. Now, it's not a blunder per se, because he still has some counterplay. This move, here, 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 here. And what Shahzeb told me after the game was that he'd completely forgotten about this pawn over right here. Because let's say this pawn isn't here, right? Let's just say it's not here. This pawn's promoting, okay? And you have to give up the rook for this pawn, and then you just promote with this pawn and win the game. Had this pawn not been here. But okay, a few more moves were played, and obviously at this point, Shahzeb resigned the game because there's nothing more to be done. You promote to a queen the next move, and you just take the pawn with your rook. Okay, and that is it for round 2. I'll be posting 2 new videos this week, if possible. One will be round 3 of the nationals, and another will be an update regarding future events. Then again, if you have any interesting games you would like me to analyze, I'm always here waiting for your comments. And yeah, that's it. Take care, and see you next video.